tell you. I put you and your dad at the end of the book. And I said, thank you very much for doing that. He says, look, he says, when you asked me to go do the New Jersey Hall of Fame for Dad, and Dad didn't know anything about that. That happened after he passed away. So now they asked me to do the the New Jersey Hall of Fame, and I brought my band down, and I brought Robert Randolph, Brad Winford, Mallet Man, and Ace Frehley with me. And who shows up but Jack Nicholson, Bruce Springsteen, Frankie Valli, Jack Nicholson, DeVito, all of them came in. So it is kind of really a terrific show, and it was sold out, you know. So ever since then, the CEO of the New Jersey Hall of Fame has said, I want you to represent your dad there every year. And I couldn't be there tonight. I was supposed to be there. I was here at the auction.
Well, so today's a very special day. It would have been his 97th birthday, right?
Yep. And August the 13th of this year will be 3 years he's passed away already.
Doesn't seem that long, does it?
No, but it's sure. I don't know. It's a hard thing to handle, and people say it goes away, and I don't think so. I don't think so. Not somebody that's that strong, no. There's so much of an influence with him, with everybody, and I talk to all the musicians and the guys, and they all feel the same way.
Does that help you to deal with your dad's passing, to know that he was so revered?
I got a lot of friends, yeah, definitely. That does help.
Because there's a lot of love for him that you know, there's a lot of love for you too.
They turn to me now since Dad left.
You took good care of him in the later years, you know.
We tried to do as best as we could, you know. And time comes, it comes, and nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
That's why I want to go out and do it now while I can.
You told me a moment ago a funny story about Little Richard, how when you guys came to L.A. and would play there, you'd ring him up and tell us about that.
We used to come in and play the House of Blues over in L.A. And every time we'd come in, Little Richard would be sitting in the lobby across the street, and the hotel he was staying at up on the penthouse. And he'd be waiting at the door for Dad to step through there so he could say hello to him before he, you know, Dad came in and settled down. And the friends here that were here said that he moved to Nashville. So I said, well, geez, that's interesting. And he said, yeah, we contacted him, let him know that you were going to be here. And he said, Richard said to say hello, and he's going to be playing up in the New York area in July. So he says, I set it up for you to go see Richard, little Richard, and see how he's doing. And I try and keep in contact with all the guys if I can, just to be general, you know, and we keep our hearts together, and that's important, you know.
Now, what was the relationship between Richard and your dad?
This friendship, just like it was with Elvis Presley and Neil Schon and Richie Sambora and all the other guys, because they're all, whether it's jazz or rock, he was very close with a lot of them, and public don't know that, and that's what's going to be nice when we go on the road, because people are going to hear it right from the artist, that are going to tell them, hey, we missed a guy that's really an influence, you know.
I think that's really what's amazing, is that you have people in all different genres that look to him, and he was able to interact with everyone from jazz people to hard rock people.
That's great.
And everything in between, classical and so forth, and you still find value in the music, and they found value in what he did and applied what he did to their particular styles of music. Mm-hmm. And it was it's just it really is all pervasive, his influence, and it's quite a legacy.
Yes.
It's quite a legacy.
I mean, just before he passed away, within a month before he passed away, they had 3 important guitar players that came into the club on the same night. That was Satriani, and that was Zakk Wylde, and the other one was Eric Johnson. And all three of them came on the same night. The club owner saying, "Do you know any of these guys?" I said, "I sure do. Get them down here.
Heck yeah.
They're top-notch guys, you know." And I ran into, a couple days ago, I was here, and I ran into Ace. Ace had to come over. He says, "I split from my video that I'm doing to come over and say hello to you." And then Richie called me. He says he's coming, and I was with Tweezel Zappa, and my drummer that plays with me at home, he used to work with Zappa for 3 or 4 years after Zappa passed away. And then I talked to Steve Vai at NAMM Show, and I gave him the Tech Award for Les Paul Tech Award from the foundation and everything, and find out that he's worked with Zappa for 6 years. So I got, you know, Zappa family going now.
Yep.
So now he's going to be playing Tarrytown shortly, so I'm going to go up there and see him, because I never saw him or his father play with the band live. I've always heard the music and records and everything, but never saw him. But there's another talented guy, you know.
Dweezil is an amazing guitar player, and Zappa Plays Zappa is really faithful to Frank's charts. And in fact, they opened for Jeff Beck at the Wiltern a couple of years ago, and were just incredible. And it was really, really, really heartwarming to see this portion of the rock and roll musical legacy being, you know, exposed to younger people and a wider audience, and carried on, you know, in his dad's name, because Frank was a genius also.
Oh yeah.
But those arrangements and just stop on a dime things are the kinds of things that musicians really appreciate, and people who you know, music fans who appreciate good musicianship appreciate. Yeah. And that's kind of my game.
Well, it's like Jeff. You know, Jeff, everybody I talk to is Jeff is the Bible. There's the guy that leads the pack. And Dad always appreciated that, and noticed that he had that talent. And I'm sure if he would have been alive to see him do that tribute album, that he would be down on his knees bowing to him, because he respected him so much. And vice versa with Jeff, you know. I'll never forget the TV show he did with Billy Crystal and a couple others on the show, and Jeff was going to do a solo. So Dad reaches over and pulls the chord out of Jeff's guitar, and he says, "Go ahead." So Jeff's sitting there saying, "I can't do anything." He pulled my chord out.
Oh, wasn't that because Jeff was playing a Strat?
I know.
Yeah.
But he's, you know, I was on the bus when we did the PBS special at Iridium together, and
that was great.
He did a hell of a job. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that could have got any closer than what he got.
And Imelda was great too.
Excellent, excellent. She was phenomenal. I mean, I don't know where they ran into her, but
hallelujah.
She is really good. She did all those vocal parts herself and sang to herself. And her husband played guitar, and he was excellent too. So I mean, it really was a good show.
Well, Russ, I really appreciate your time. Any parting shots to tell the Les Paul fans around the world about the auction, about the foundation, about the future of the legacy, and, how the proceeds here are going to be benefiting the world?
They'll all be posted, and everybody will know when we're about ready to strike with a good thing from the foundation. Everybody will be notified, and they'll know all about it. It's something that we're very proud about, and we just want to make sure that everybody will know when we're doing things, and they will, because they're pretty big.
Best way to find out, give us the website address, Facebook.
It's LesPaulFoundation.org, or they can reach me on Facebook and look at my Facebook if they want. I'm up there at RUSSPAUL/Les Paul Jr., and I'm posted up there all the time.
Very good. Well, we'll see you on Facebook and see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Steve.
Let me get from over here. Okay. That's good. Oh, I gotta turn it on. Still getting used to the digital. Okay, that's awesome.
history of stuff together, and that would be a perfect thing to do.
For Rock of Ages.
No, this is another situation.
Ah.
For the foundation.
And yeah, but I'm setting this one up. How you doing, Michael?
Doing well. Did you know, the Waukesha Museum bought the L5.
They did get it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Good. I'm glad they got it. What did
Yeah.
they go for?
Like 25 grand. It was
Yeah.
cheap. But
Yeah, I know.
but it's good it's going where we would have
We
put
wanted to
where
go,
we wanted
yeah.
to go anyway.
It's Michael Bronstein, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Michael, Stephen Peoples.
Oh, we've met before.
Yeah, we met the last time you guys were out here.
Yeah,
Nice to see you. And Peter Sherman shoots for Getty and works with me.
All right, perfect. Great. Are you getting interviewed? Is this what this is?
Yeah, we're just wrapping it up, actually. This is like the postscript part. Good to see you again, Michael.
So we got several things that I've dealt with. I ran into another guy that does master classes when we were here, and it's just like I talked to Sam Ash, and Sam says, "Look, we had a 2-hour conversation the other day, and he says, look, I want you to do some big projects with me. I've got some big stores, Nashville, Las Vegas, and other things. Let's set them up, and we'll do them."
You know, I know it's not guitars, but Remo drums. Remo Belli, the guy who founded. Do you know him, or does Les know him?
I know of him.
He is deep into music in education and
This is where it's at.
is promoting and has for the last 50 years been involved in providing resources for and curriculum even for classes in schools, both from the K through 12, elementary through high school, as well as adults.
The thing that bothers me.
And it seems like you guys ought to hook up if you're going to be doing some.
I want to do this, but I want to go back into the analog days because people got to know where the digital come from.
Right. Well,
now, if you deal with any pro guys, I got 2 of the top pros in here right now.
yeah. Speaking of analog, okay. How about
right
this?
here.
Right. Okay. Love that.
MM1000 Ampeg.
Yep. There you go.
But the kids got to know right now they're totally upset of anything that moves. Anything that moves, they don't want to have anything to do with. And they've got to know that all this stuff that's happening today with the digital recording and everything all came from the analog.
Right.
And they don't know all that stuff. They only know from digital on in. And they've got to know that because right now, these guys in the recording studios, half the recording studio is digital, half of it's analog.
Right.
And they're very deep in the analog gear.
There's a recording studio that's owned by some young people up in our area that's purposely only analog.
Yeah, well,
It's a real retro kind of,
Yeah.
and that's all they do. They do not do digital. However,
Well,
the producers go there, they record analog, but they will go to a digital
Transfer to
facility,
digital.
transfer, and
Right.
because it's a lot easier to
well,
edit
that's
and
what they
so
did
forth.
with the video. They used to go take, record on the film, and then drop the film over to D2, and then from D2 they did do all the editing on digital, but they got the film look.
Speaking of which, all of the the TV shows.
We have those, and we're going to be putting them out.
You know, when I was there in 1991, you guys were looking at the
Well, we
the
got them
films
all
and stuff.
on computer now, the 140 of them.
Yeah. What's going to happen with them?
They're going to be coming out. We're going to be working on that as soon as we get this, and we get the other stuff going to Library of Congress. Then we start working on the film.
Because that's just priceless stuff, and there's
we have
some of
a
the
lot of-
radio shows are out already, and
Oh, I know that, but they're only spotted because they didn't return them and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
we understand what that is. But there's a lot of things like all the shows that were recorded at Fat Tuesdays, Iridium 1 and Iridium 2. We have all those shows. There's maybe 40 years worth of stuff there. So if we put one out a year, it still keeps that on the beat of what's going on.
you could put one out a week.
Well, no, you don't want to do that because now you flood it out and
Yeah.
film and be a short period, and then you got nothing.
No, I know, I'm being facetious.
You want to just spread it out enough to where people would realize have an activity, have a audio video out, and you have this, and you keep
connected with a special
Keep
event of some
things
kind.
going all the time.
Yeah.
I'm out with the group promoting it, the trio's out promoting it, so forth and so on. There's enough that it keeps activity all the time. That's what you need. You don't want it to be where it's quiet and everything switches under the rug, and then 5 years they say, well, who's Les Paul? I say, I don't know, I think he played guitar. Don't want that. You want to say, oh yeah, we know about him. He's a great guitar player, and he did this, he did that, he invented this. This is what they got to know.
What's really cool, I work with some young kids at the radio station where I work,
Yeah.
and I mentioned that I was coming to do this, and they knew exactly who he was.
Well,
I
that's
didn't
good.
have to go into a whole explanation, which was very nice.
There is a few that are like that, and it's good, but we got to let more know.
Yeah, I wanted to ask just out of curiosity, because obviously all of this stuff came out of the house and out of storage.
Yeah.
What's left at the house?
Oh, there's a few things left at the house, yeah, but there's mostly.
I mean,
things
not the stuff that we
have.
talked about
Yeah.
that you haven't donated already, but I mean, it must look kind of naked, I
It's kind of
suppose.
naked out there now. Yeah, a lot of things aren't there, but you know, it's hard to see something that he put together all his life and then have it all tore apart in front of your face. And, you know, you lose him first, and then everything else falls apart.
You guys going to
It's
keep
hard.
the house?
That's up to the foundation later. We're not done yet, so we got to finish up what we
He
gotta
left
do.
it to the foundation, basically,
Yeah,
right?
basically, yeah.
Very good. Very
Everything
good.
went to the state, and then from the estate to the foundation. But we got a lot of good things that we're involved with the foundation, and it'll be very, very educational for everybody. We're going after the young people. We're going after the younger set to let them know what's going on, and have them educated, have them know the music. I mean, Dad's music, even to today, is not dated. I mean, you could play it and say, geez, it was just recorded yesterday. It's 40, 50 years, 60 years old. But the way he did it is just phenomenal, and it's not dated. I mean, you can take Benny Goodman and play that today, and you say, oh, that's an old record. Can't say that about that. That was one good thing that he had going for him that was different.
Yep.
Really different. It's not dated anytime.
Well, thanks again for spending a couple of minutes with us.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you real soon.
Okay.